I'd like to welcome everybody back to Alabama Care. Today we are in Tuscaloosa, Alabama at the Back to School Wheelchair Wash. And I'd like for you guys to introduce my guest here, if you would introduce yourself.
My name is Mandy Newell.
And who do you work with, Mandy?
I work with a state agency called Children's Rehabilitation Services, and I am the physical therapist for this office and the Selma office.
And what exactly does CRS do for anybody that's unfamiliar with it?
Okay, it's a long list. So we serve kids from birth to 21, and we have a variety of different clinics and for any kind of, like, so many different medical issues that kids may have. For today, we're specifically, not necessarily specifically focusing on just kids in wheelchairs, but that is a big part of this.
Yeah, well, I know going back to school is kind of a big step for a lot of families, a lot of kids, a lot of students. Just getting them into new classrooms, new teachers, new peers, those types of things. So this is kind of a mentality of, all right, guys, we're getting back into the swing of things here.
Yes, it's like the last shindig before you have to go back.
Yeah, so is this the first year that you guys have done this?
It is the first year in a while that we've done something like this, and this is actually bigger than anything we've ever done before because I felt that there were a lot of people that were missing out on the resources that were available in our area, and so I wanted it to kind of also be a resource fair.
Yeah, there are resources out there, but sometimes they're so hard to find that it's almost like you find them through a friends group or like another family. And
there's stuff I don't even know that's out there.
We continue. I think we've done close to 200 broadcasts, and I always continue to learn about services, for my family member and what's available there. So talk about some of the vendors and the process of going through setting this up.
So first and foremost, our wheelchair vendors, our equipment vendors are the biggest part of this, because that is the central thing of this event. And they are great. They are volunteering their time to help.
Now they're over there in the corner?
Yes, cleaning wheelchairs, tightening things.
And it's so necessary because a lot of times the wear and tear on wheelchairs takes its toll, and you don't think about it until it actually breaks down or, wheel falls off, those things. So it's important to get it regularly looked at, regularly cleaned. It's something my aunt hasn't had done, so we're looking forward to that happening here.
So we have wheelchair seating clinics or seating positioning mobility clinics where we look at different types of equipment that one of our clients may need, whether it's bath equipment, toileting equipment, a gait trainer walker, or a wheelchair, and different types of wheelchairs at that. So we do see those kids relatively frequently, but we're not washing their chair. Like, you do not know how much dirt can get on a chair, especially in the summer when, they're out with their families doing stuff. So.
No, I hate cleaning, so I tend not to look at the dirt. Just maybe if I don't look at it, it's not. Just like when I'm in my car, if I hear something weird, I just turn up the music. Try and go that route. But if you have an opportunity, please come down to CRS here in Tuscaloosa. It's only about a half hour, maybe 35-minute drive from Birmingham. Take the opportunity to get involved in the community. Get your wheelchair washed. Maybe your son or daughter's wheelchair, your family member's wheelchair. Now, who is the vendor for the wheelchairs?
So we have two vendors here today, DME Services and New Motion. They're both out of the Birmingham area, but they come here regularly to service these kids.
Now, you mentioned you're a therapist with CRS.
Yes.
Now, what are some things that you see specific to, is it physical therapy? What are some specific things to physical therapy that you see happening at the start of every school year that maybe a mom or a dad or a student could take note about?
Trying to think.
Or things that you see come up as a child ages through the education system.
Well, a lot of times equipment's left at the school. And summertime's the only time that they actually get it home. And so getting those, or, it was even left at the school and they don't have access to it. So, that's...
So I feel like a lot of things would pop up during the summer session where if most of the equipment is being used in school, maybe you have some teachers there that can assist with that. But as soon as the equipment and the child are back home for the school or for the summer, a lot of things kind of rise up for the parents that they might not think about on a daily basis.
Right.
So making sure that they're fluent in that realm, that the child's taken care of at home in that aspect.
Yes.
I can see that as a challenge. I'm sure a lot of students are excited to get back into the school system though.
Some are.
Yeah. I was always excited. I always got to see my buddies. So
Yes.
it's like, all right, I'm ready for school to start back again. How about some of the other vendors that you guys have here?
So I was able to contact a bunch of different resources that are local to this area. And I have Crossing Points, which is a program at UA. It's a continuing education for kids that from the school system into like a college setting.
Yeah.
I have Discovery Speech, which she is actually upstairs in our building, but she provides speech therapy to a lot of our kids. I have Easter Seals is in our building as well, and so they have a program called Parents as Teachers.
But say that again, parents
As teachers.
Parents as teachers. Mm-hmm. Like more homeschooling or what?
No, it's more just teaching the parents how to be that guidance to their kid,
Okay.
developmentally, and
Yeah.
and just helping them in any area that they may need.
Yeah.
I do
It's
not
a
know.
support network for the parents.
Yes, and
Yeah.
I don't know what ages they go through specifically, but I knew that they were important. I have a representative from Blue Cross All Kids here, our vocational rehab,
Yep.
and AIDB.
Oh, shout out to AIDB. Dante Little, if you see this, I would like to speak with you, sir.
And I was able to find an ice cream truck
Yep.
that it was through a story on the internet that they were providing ice cream services outside of the stadium
Yep.
for home games, and it is a mother and a son with Down syndrome who have started this business to teach other kids with special needs how to, how they can work and do a job.
Yeah, so shout out to Hunter and Michelle Norwood.
Yes.
We've done a broadcast with them before. They were at the extra special Easter egg hunt that we were able to cover. And I got a chance to speak with Hunter, and he and his business are at every home game for University of Alabama football across the street, I believe, in their quad area.
Okay.
So very exciting news for them.
Yes. And then I was able to get some of our wheelchair basketball players from UA and their adaptive athletics. I wanted them to be able to show some of these kids like what their potential could be.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Be able to have a mentor and see what's possible
Yes.
there.
My biggest thing is just to help kids be as functional and independent as possible.
Yeah.
That's my biggest goal for every kid I see.
And I feel like a lot of parents sometimes want to shelter a young child, but it's so important early on for them to develop those skills so
Absolutely.
that they continue to build upon those and are fully independent when that time comes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, thank you for getting this together. Thank you for allowing us to be
course.
here.
Thank you for
and
coming.
we're going to ask a few of the other guests here if they'd like to be on screen with us.
Awesome. Thank you.
Amanda, thanks again. Okay, guys, we have some more guests with us today, so I'd like you guys to introduce yourself. Go ahead, dude.
My name is Peter Barry, and I'm a junior at Alabama, and I'm on the wheelchair basketball team.
I was going to ask, so everybody's kind of wearing Crimson Tide, same shirts. What team are we representing here?
Yeah, Alabama wheelchair basketball. We're all different ages, but
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and pass down and introduce.
Yeah, so my name is Austin Smith. I'm going into my senior year at the University of Alabama, and like we said, we all play on the wheelchair basketball team.
What are you studying? I'll go back. What are you studying?
I'm doing marketing and communications, a double major right now.
Okay, what do you want to do after college?
After college,
Dream job. Big
sorry,
picture. Dream job, big picture.
Dream job. I'm not sure exactly. I'm kind of figuring it out still, but I do know I do want to go overseas and play basketball for a couple of years.
Awesome.
Just while I'm young and still able to. So
Yeah, I've never traveled overseas, so I'm super jealous that you want to do that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. You introduce yourself. Major.
Yeah, so I'm actually a double major in creative media and marketing. Really kind of like more of the creative media side of it, and dream job, end goal, whatever you want to call it. trying to do video production for like ESPN and stuff like
Oh,
that.
yeah, for sure.
Would definitely be the dream. So yeah.
That's awesome.
My name is Aaron Berry. I'm a rising sophomore at the University of Alabama, and I'm majoring in music production and business management.
Yep, dream job.
Dream job? I honestly have no idea. I'm still trying to
You
figure
still got
it
a couple
out.
years to figure
I
it
still
out.
got a couple of years.
I'm Evan Williams, and I'm going into my senior year, and I'm studying finance and economics.
And dream job.
I don't know for sure yet, but I think I want to do financial advising of some sort, probably corporate.
Yep. Yeah. Very cool.
Hello, my name is Sean Dawes. I'm a rising sophomore here at Alabama, and I'm going to be majoring in finance.
Dream job.
My dream job is probably being a financial advisor.
Financial advisor.
Yeah.
You can probably teach me anything because I spend all my money. So I don't know anything about wheelchair basketball at the University of Alabama. How long has it been going on? How are you guys doing? Are you guys ranked nationally? How'd you guys do last year? Who would like to take this over?
So this past year, we sadly we finished 2 in the country. We lost in the finals.
Second in the country.
Yes.
Where were the finals?
They were at the University of Texas Arlington.
Okay.
It's like right outside of Dallas.
And who'd you guys play?
We played against the University of
University.
Texas Arlington. Yeah.
Okay.
And then we lost in the finals, so we finished number 2 in the country. But we're hoping. Thank you.
That's
we would have
awesome,
rather been
dude.
1, but and then we're hoping to go undefeated this season. We got some good new recruits coming in, some good staff coming on board. So we're looking forward to a good year.
So you guys, go ahead.
Well, I'm just going to say the program was started in 2001, 2004? Early 2000s, yeah, 2004. And, I mean, every year since I've been here, it's grown. But the stories I've heard from the older guys, like, you know, they were putting their chairs in a little 8x10 closet and practicing at 5 a.m. in the rec when the courts were open. And, I mean, and today we have our own arena and our own weight room, all our own facilities, locker room, therapy rooms, and so the program's just changed so much. So like for us guys coming in the past few years, we're lucky to kind of be a part of this culture where, you know, we push around on campus and people recognize us. It's pretty cool.
You guys have like posters around campus, that kind of stuff. I mean, you guys are number 2 in the country representing University of Alabama. So what are some big games? Like if you could think back to last year, was there a game that you were like at your highest there? You just beat a team or like overtime game to move on, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I would say it was a tournament back in, I believe, February, right before our national tournament. We were in the University of Texas Arlington, and we were playing UTA. UTA had been a team who had only lost like 1 game in the last like 3 years.
Oh, wow. So they dominate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been dominating the league for a while.
Why do you think they're so good consistently?
They just had a lot of guys who have been able to kind of mesh and grow together, and they just always get top talent year after year, a lot like what we're able to do. They're a pretty competitive program.
Yeah.
But I would say last year when we were finally able to take them down, I know it was for the first time in my career, and I think everybody up here, that was a really big moment for us and showed us that we were moving in the right direction.
Yeah, well, that's the team that ended up
Winning,
So maybe this year we'll do it the opposite way.
No,
Right?
it will go the opposite way. We have some new staff. We got a lot of new talent and players, and I think it'll be a really, really good year for us.
Yeah, tell me about kind of the admin, your coach, head coach, assistant coaches, that kind of stuff.
With that?
Yeah, thanks for passing that around. I like that you guys are passing it.
Our head coach is Ford Bertram. He's been the coach for quite a bit of time now. Our last assistant coach has actually just left us this past year, so we have
Get out of here.
so we have an alumni who graduated the year before I came in, coming back as an assistant coach for us, who plays overseas for Australia and all of that. So he's coming.
Australia?
Yeah.
National Australian.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's coming back to help coach us. So hopefully that'll really help with the staff part of it.
Now, you mentioned that you want to play overseas. Does anybody else want to go to like
Yeah, I mean, another part of my goal is to go overseas for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a couple questions here I'll kind of lay out that we'll jump back into. The first one's going to be, are you guys familiar with Lakeshore Foundation and the work that they do internationally? And then the second one I'm going to ask is kind of growing up and getting into accessible sporting and what that journey was like. and maybe what that gave you and a sense of accomplishment. Those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the organization that we all played in high school is called the NWBA, the National Wheelchair Basketball Association.
So did you guys know each other all before coming to
Give
Alabama?
or take, some people.
It's like you
Not
competed.
for the most part.
You see each
Yeah.
other at tournaments, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And so my conference actually was lucky enough to have Lakeshore in it. So once a year we'd go down to Lakeshore right before the national tournament in March and have a weekend where we just get to hang out at the facility. And I mean, if nobody's ever been there before, it's something special, something that I think everybody should try to see at least once in their life.
Yep.
So Lakeshore is really special, and they have a great group of people in there, and we love playing against them and playing with them, and they're really a second family to me.
Yeah, I always we've done a number of broadcasts with them. I have a couple buddies there, but I kind of consider them like a hub for accessible sports and events in America almost.
Yeah.
Like they're internationally known and recognized. Their facility's crazy. So I have a family member. She's my aunt, and she's right there in the blue shirt eating right now. She's a member of Lakeshore and goes there for some of the pool activities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a ton of their facility, and one thing I love about Lakeshore is they do an amazing job at promoting wheelchair basketball, but much more like in a broader sense, like adaptive sports.
Yep.
And when I got involved in athletics, it was through the hospital I was doing rehab at.
Yep.
But I know so many kids who have grown up not knowing that adaptive sports exist. And so one thing I'm grateful for with Lakeshore and Alabama Adapted Athletics is how the outreach they do with the surrounding communities.
Yeah.
It's such a big deal for adaptive sports to grow, just because it gives kids with disabilities so much freedom in terms of physical movement and mental health, and it's just such a massive deal.
Yeah.
So that's why I love the Lakeshore Foundation.
I think you need to be active. So in high school and college, I wrestled for a small D1 school up in Pennsylvania, and it's really funny that, and even now I play ice hockey over in Pelham. But I always noticed when I was in college, you would think like when I was in season, I would be so overworked and so stressed that my grades would go down.
Yeah.
My grades always went up when I was in season because it gives you that structure. It gives you that confidence. You're constantly working out, positive mind frame. You're with your buddies achieving. Everything else kind of rises with the tide there.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important to be physically active, as you mentioned, for the physicalness and also the mental that you can get from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else like to add to that, what we're kind of talking about?
Sure.
Yeah.
So when I first got hurt back in Arizona, I didn't really know anything about any like adaptive sports at all. I mean, I was 4 at the time, but as I grew up, around like 5 or 6, I got offered to play at an Arizona adult team.
Now, where in Arizona were you?
This was Phoenix, Arizona.
Phoenix, Arizona?
Yeah.
So I lived in Tempe, Scottsdale for like 7 years.
Oh, yeah.
It's a cool place.
Yes,
it's a little
it
bit.
is.
It's hotter than this right now. Everybody
Yes.
always tells me, they're like, oh, Arizona is not that. When I lived out there, yeah.
I was just there on Tuesday, so.
Dude, it's an oven out there right now. Perfect
Yes.
for like 5-6 months out of the year. Stinks for the summer months.
Yes, yeah. Especially being in a wheelchair, like in the summertime, I couldn't even go outside because it was just spreading my hands.
So I was unfamiliar. I didn't really get involved with my family member and in the community until about 5 years ago when I moved to Alabama. Where is kind of the hub in Phoenix, like there would be a hub of Lakeshore in Alabama?
It's called the Phoenix Children's Hospital.
Okay.
That's like the main hub. However, my friend Evan here probably knows more about that.
Yeah, so I moved to Phoenix right before my 6th grade year. And when I moved there, they actually had what was called NJDC, which was wheelchair track. Nationals was there,
Yep.
which is actually how I mostly got involved. I'd been doing some skiing when I lived in Boston prior to that.
Dude, you guys are from all over the country.
Yeah.
We have teammates from India, New Zealand,
Really?
India, Spain.
Oh, it's cool to get like that, everybody together and learn.
Yeah, so there was a track nationals which I had seen, which I enjoyed watching, and that's actually how I got involved in more of this kind of side of adaptive sports. So I did that for about 3 years before I moved to to basketball rather. and did both of those throughout high school. And in Phoenix, there's 2 different organizations that are kind of the hub. There's Arizona Disabled Sports, which is kind of in a Mesa, which is part of Phoenix, but a smaller part. And then there's a place that used to be called SPOFIT, but is now called Ability 360, where they have multiple teams, and that's kind of another big hub for it there.
Awesome. I'm going to go back to your story there, and then I'm going to ask one more question. I know it's hot out here, and we'll kind of wrap it up then. The question will be, if you weren't playing wheelchair basketball, what sport would you play?
So previous to wheelchair basketball, I was playing sled hockey, which was during the winter time as well.
Yeah, dude, I've watched sled hockey. It's super cool.
Yes. However, like the reason why I switched was just because once you play sled hockey, there's not really like a big future for my disability because most of them are amputees instead of a spinal cord injury, in which I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen it, and I was very surprised. I started playing hockey in Phoenix, and I was like, nobody out here plays hockey. But what you get is everybody that comes down to Phoenix for the summer is from the north. They're all from Canada or Minnesota, and they all play hockey. And then they started all these rinks down there. There's like 5-6 rinks in Arizona.
Yes.
So that's where I started playing. Okay, we're gonna go in reverse order. If you weren't playing basketball, wheelchair basketball, what sport would you play?
Sled hockey.
There you go.
I'd probably continue with wheelchair track.
Okay.
If I wasn't playing wheelchair basketball, I'd probably take up either wheelchair tennis or sled hockey.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think sled hockey's always looked fun because you can beat and bang into people.
Yeah,
and that's a part of our game that's quite fun. But I think tennis, even though it's outdoor, I think that would be the avenue that I would explore.
Yeah.
I'll have to agree with Ev on this one. I think I'd be doing track. Yeah. Although I do agree with Smitty, I like the physicality in hockey, but
Dude, I'm surprised nobody said murder ball.
yeah, I thought about it. It's just I think murder ball's mainly like a higher injuries or more disabled.
No, they're definitely.
But I mean, they go.
So do you guys? I've
crazy.
seen like wheelchair basketball being practiced at Lakeshore, and it is brutal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, even if you come check it out at the university, it's even more.
A little bit.
I'd say it's a
chippier.
little more physical and chippier, just because we're more younger players and kind of
All right,
like
so
to get in there and bang.
shout out to this season. When does your guys' season start, and when's the first game? When can people come?
Yeah, show up October. I'm not sure when we play Auburn. It's October 7th.
broadcast.
But we have a home tournament every weekend in October.
Okay.
So come out any of those weekends. Auburn will be there one weekend. Mizzou will be there another. I'm pretty sure Illinois will be there. Those are all going to be good games. So yeah, show up anytime. And the schedules.
Wait, are you about to say something crazy?
Shout out the website. You said this is a broad laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
You asked me to go live. I'm like,
for
what's he gonna say?
For anyone listening, our website is bamaadapted.com. So that has our roster, our schedule, our stats, and everything. So you can get the live stream links and the schedule there, and then come out to our game. So once again, it's bamaadapted.com.
We're gonna go ahead and put it in chat too. Bama Adapt.
Yeah, BAMA adapted.com.
Adapted.
Yeah.
ED at the end.
Yeah.
BamaAdapted.com.
And then and then our arena is right next to the rec center on campus.
Yep.
So just come out and support, spread the word.
I told you I was gonna let you guys go, but the title for today is Back to School Wheelchair Wash. My aunt has never really had her wheelchair washed. What is the importance of keeping your wheelchair clean and those types of things for families that may yet to come out today? How important it is to get your wheelchair washed?
Oh, it's very important. I once went a year without cleaning my casters, and it got so bad to a point to where they wouldn't turn.
Oh, really?
So just chair maintenance, keeping it clean, keeping all the hair and dust out of the wheels is huge importance.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the chairs are like an extension of us. And so you want to keep it clean and maintained, even more so with our ball chairs.
Yeah. I notice, like, even if I'm doing roller hockey, I'll kind of tinker with my skates, like, before I play a game. Do you guys kind of do that as well? Like, fine-tune stuff?
Yeah, tighten up wheels. Yeah, we always make sure our equipment is ready to go. And, we can play to the best of our ability.
Do they have to inspect your equipment before every game?
Yeah.
Make sure you guys, like, what would be an example of taking advantage of rules to get, like, to do better out there?
So we have like size requirements that we can't surpass, which is like 21. Our seat has to be within 21 inches off the ground.
Okay.
So especially when it comes to the national championship, but even just kind of random tournaments throughout, they measure with a tape measure how high up we are to make sure that we're not over that.
It reminds me of like a weigh-in with wrestling.
Yeah,
like you gotta
same
get
kind
weighed
of
in
same kind of
before-
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, very cool. I appreciate you guys being with here and sharing your experiences and going live with us. So,
Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. And for anyone that's not here yet, you better get down here. We got ice cream going by the truckload out there. Okay, so we spoke this morning and this afternoon, but introduce yourself for anybody that doesn't know.
I'm Kalina Sorrells. I'm the social work administrator here at the Tuscaloosa CRS office.
And how long have you been working with CRS?
I've been with CRS for almost 8 years this November.
Okay, and exactly what kind of work do you do in the organization?
So we provide healthcare assessments, ongoing care coordination for children 0 to 21 who have any sort of medical concerns or needs.
Yeah, and a lot of that, it's looking like focuses around accessibility in motion and in wheelchair use.
Yes.
So that's the theme for today is
Yes.
back to school and wheelchair wash.
Exactly. Traditionally, back to school, kids are getting new clothes, new sneakers. They want to be shiny and new. So we wanted to show love to our kiddos who are differently mobiled and get them the same treatment so that they can go to school, looking good.
Yeah, and you guys have had families travel from 2.5 hours away to be here today.
Yeah.
Be a part of this community.
Yes, we're excited.
And here you have your daughter, is this correct?
Yes, this is Rayleigh. She's my 13-year-old daughter. She's going into the 8th grade this year.
So you're here volunteering and helping out.
Yep.
What made you want to come today?
Well, I really like working with my mom and going to the events that her and her work put on.
Yeah.
It's really fun, and I like to see all of the different people that show up. It's very rounding. It's very
And you are kind of in charge of what part of today?
the games area. So me and a couple other workers are over there with bubbles and games to entertain some of the kids.
We've seen bubbles coming this way all day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you guys got some bubbles going on. You got some pinko going on.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you describe those two other games? Just kind of a ball pit type of
Yeah,
thing.
the ball water toys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how I have an aunt. She's right behind you in a blue shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if she'd like to go over there and play if she hasn't already.
Well, I think she has gone over there already. But,
Oh really? How'd she do?
She did pretty good. She got, I think it was a fidget bracelet.
Oh really?
She won a prize.
Yeah,
Nice.
a prize.
Well, it's so exciting to see young people really getting involved. And one of the things through the broadcast that we've talked about is the importance of inclusion at all ages.
Yes.
And how that has a benefit all the way through your life and how you influence and interact with other people and share that knowledge that you have.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Is there one thing that's really stuck with you with being a part of this community that you'd like to share maybe with other kids your age?
Definitely. Working and doing stuff like this with my mom has really just opened me to new experiences, but also different people, because it feels like people my age especially are nervous or maybe not willing to interact with people different than them, whether it be someone in a wheelchair or someone with another special need. So I think doing this, especially since I've been going to her work events for a while, has helped me interact with these people better, but also understand them better.
I think that's very well said. And a lot of times, even when I'm unsure of something or something is new to me, I'm a little hesitant to engage. But all you have to do is just take that first step and introduce yourself. That's about it. And then you're like, oh my gosh, these people are awesome. You know, this is my dude. And then it goes from there. But you got to be willing to take that first step. So I applaud you for doing that and for being the mother that's leading in that direction.
Well, she's fortunate or unfortunate enough to have a social worker for a mother. So she has been coming to events like this the whole time that I've been doing it. So she's 13, so since she was 5. And we've had friends and whatnot that she's been buddies with at church and has really learned to engage in, just relationships with different people coming from all different walks of life. And so I really hope that just carries on in her future and her career path and things like that. And this is my job. I love it. I am not, it is not uncommon for me to see somebody I don't recognize and run after them and hand them my business card and say, hey, I work for CRS, let us help. I actually did it at my son's kindergarten meet and greet the other day. I was like, your kid is new, come see us at CRS. We're just here to help and just love on these families. They're so worth it, and I just enjoy it every day.
Every interaction I've ever had with ADRS, CRS is always arms wide open.
Yes.
Come in, let's see how we can, do things for you.
Exactly.
Now, with your work, is sometimes one-on-one with the children and the families. In that aspect, we're getting back into school.
Right.
what are some things that you notice around this time maybe are a little bit more challenging for the families that you see going on, and what would you say to them during this next 2 weeks?
Well, with any, especially if it's a younger child just starting school, there's a lot of apprehension about, sending your child into an environment that you're not familiar with. Families may be new to the IEP process, and making sure that their children have that support and ability to, the first thing mom or dad says is, if their child is nonverbal, I want to know if they don't like it, if something happens. And so there's a lot of fear behind just what your child does when they're not in your safety zone. I encourage them all just to find their support system. The schools are usually very open and receptive to parents just being communicative with them and just helping them through that process. CRS, we are here as care coordinators to help with that too, to bridge that gap and just make sure that those kiddos just really embrace the school environment.
Yeah, I've heard that is a common theme that pops up, is find your network.
Yes.
This isn't, if you can feel like it's all on your shoulders,
yes,
believe me, that can't happen forever.
No, it's a lot of weight.
Yeah. And it will be stressful on yourself. You have to reach out to people that know kind of where the next steps are going to be for your family and for your child, and rely on them and their expertise there. Now, you mentioned school systems, and I feel sometimes it might be a little frustrating with administration, but I think the one-on-one interactions with the teachers and the aides are what really make the big difference to feel comfortable kind of letting go a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you hear stories all the time where parents are kind of hovering a little bit, helicoptering, and then they step away a little bit, and their child surprises them.
Every child acts completely different when mom and dad are gone.
Yeah. So.
Yes. And a lot of the times schools, they do this every day, so it's second nature to them. And new parents to this process, there are big words and a lot of things going on that they don't necessarily understand. And as care coordinators, we go to those IEP meetings, we talk to the teachers, we try to kind of bring things down to layman terms and let the parents know what to expect or what to bring to the table, because knowledge is power, and when you feel like you know what you're asking for ahead of time, then you're that much more confident when you get into that process. So we definitely want parents and kiddos to even be a part of those conversations and feel like they're being heard and getting their needs met.
Yeah, it's almost like getting a degree in that jargon.
Oh,
and it is jargon too. When you hear things like IEP, ADA, some of the laws behind everything, it can feel overwhelming.
Or 504 plans, and how is that different? Yes.
And you guys can help as kind of a translator there.
Yes.
And a teacher and a mentor to help walk through that process there.
Right.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed as a parent in schools, you need to pick up the phone, call CRS. We got a number off the top of our head?
Sure. It's our number here at Tuscaloosa is 205-562-1802. That's the direct line.
And CRS is statewide, so it doesn't matter where you are. You don't have to be in Tuscaloosa.
No.
There are services where you live.
Yes, I cannot remember off the top of my head how many offices we have, but we cover every single county in the state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being with us today, inviting us here.
Thank you for coming. We so appreciate it.
And allowing us to go live.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I'll give you fist bumps.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, we have a new guest. If you would introduce yourself again to everybody that didn't hear it.
My name is Mallory Manning with Discovery Speech Therapy.
Discovery Speech Therapy. Now, Discovery Speech Therapy, I imagine you're focusing on a little bit younger children at that point. Is that true?
We absolutely are, but we also will treat any age.
Okay. And what exactly happens, or who are some of the individuals that you work with?
We actually serve a variety of populations. We look at communication impairments across the population of language delays, early childhood language delays. So we're looking at receptive and expressive language disorders, as well as autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. Those are a few of the diagnoses that we treat, but also older kids, like articulation therapy. We look at phonological disorders, delays with their sound acquisition, as well as some of our older friends, we might be working on some more social aspects of communication, so like social pragmatic communication delays.
This is a lot of big words. Break these down for me here.
Yeah. So for example, for some of our littles, I call them my little kiddos, so the birth to 3 population, we might focus primarily on building their efficacy with understanding what is said to them, but also how to use what they understand. So if I ask them, give me your cup, seeing if they can do that, or if I just call them by name, do they respond to that? Those are receptive language skills. And then once we kind of decide or see if they can do that, we might branch out and do some more expressive language stuff. And the beauty of expressive language birth to 3 or even birth to 5, it's not just the spoken word. There are all kinds of expressive language skills. And that can be, I'll even do a couple with you right now. So I'll do a few gestures and you tell me what I'm saying.
Hi. You're saying hi.
Yes.
You're saying hi. I want to be on screen.
Yeah. What am I doing now?
Yeah. Yes, I agree to that.
What am I doing now?
I don't want to do that.
What am I doing now?
Don't talk to me.
That's right. What am I doing now?
Oh, look over there.
Yes, bingo. So see, you completely understood every conventional message that I just gave you. No words were used from my mouth, but I conveyed meaning just using my body language.
So you mentioned those
are some things we work on too.
You mentioned there's a few different age groups, so you really work with all age groups there.
That's correct.
And the earlier the better, I would say, from a family to get involved. If you're noticing some delays in your child's...
Absolutely.
What are some things that maybe a parent would notice that would prompt them to reach out for help?
Right, so early on we want to look, obviously pediatricians are kind of like in our back pocket. We want to be listening to what our pediatricians are telling us. So the professionals at, all kids pediatricians offices are really following those developmental continuums very closely. They're looking at really 5 areas of development most of the time, and those 5 areas being 1, communication, which I specialize in, but the other 4 being cognitive, so like thinking and problem solving skills, physical developments, that's not just walking, that's picking up something off the floor or off a table.
Mobility.
Yes, mobility. So, and obviously each of these areas can be really broken down, right? Social emotional development, so just being happy with being around our friends, right? And then the other 2 being adaptive. We kind of put feeding into that category. And so really there are 5 areas of development. Our pediatricians are going to kind of be our helpers in identifying if there are any developmental delays. And then once we know that, then it's time to evaluate.
So will you reach out to them?
Who would we reach out to?
Would the pediatrician notify you? Hey, what's up?
Yes, they exactly would. So we actually receive referrals not only from pediatricians, but word of mouth. So sometimes a parent just calls us asking, what do I do now? So a parent sometimes is even watching this very closely. They're like, oh, my child's not walking and they're 18 months. What's going on? My child's not using first words and they're 2. Should I be concerned? And so we get a lot of those kinds of questions,
Now, going from early childhood, birth to 3, to maybe, I'll say 14 to 25, specifically for employment, do you guys work in that sector of communicating in the workplace? Those types of things.
So explain your question a little bit more for me.
This week is the Alabama ALAPSE, which is, there's a lot of push in the community for employment. Supported employment, those types of things. Do you guys work on site, or if someone's having difficulty gaining employment, do you help with their communication skills with potential employers?
Right now, we don't have any clients on caseload that I'm aware of that need that extra benefit or that extra service, but we, by all means, would welcome that into our clinic for sure.
Because I've heard that can be quite frightening, is, when you have your normal routine, and for anybody, when you have your normal routine and then something changes abruptly, and you can't control every environment all the time, especially if you're working with others. But you hit that on the head with adaptability, and to be able to have something come your way that you didn't expect, that isn't supposed to be at that time, but to be able to react appropriately to that in a social environment and continue on with your day.
Yes, definitely. And the great thing too about where we're located, Discovery Speech Therapy is located on the 2nd floor within the Easter Seals West Alabama department, and so that's actually, we're in such a great location because we're sandwiched between, a
lot of support center right there. It's a hub of support.
Exactly. So the idea is, I feel like we're kind of the peanut butter and jelly between top and bottom loaf, where we can find these solutions and these transitional supports for people that need them.
Tell me about this.
Okay, so something that we use at Discovery.
Hey, Mary, don't leave quite yet. Okay. Sorry about that.
She's leaving you.
She better not be.
Right. So something that we not only provide communication delay and communication speech therapy services for children who are maybe not talking or who have trouble communicate their ideas and their basic wants and needs. We also specialize in feeding therapy. So we work with children and adolescents even. We have quite a few adolescents even on caseload right now. So teenagers, high schoolers who have what we consider to be either picky eating tendencies or even some problem feeding concerns. So some terms out in the feeding community would be those, the picky eating or problem feeding, but some other terms we might hear would be like clinical diagnosis of dysphagia, which is a swallowing impairment.
Yep.
So we treat and we serve a variety of cases right now at Discovery Speech Therapy that helps us address what the specific need is per client, which we know that those needs can be very individualized.
Yeah, and that's something I imagine comes up pretty quick. That would be, I don't have any kids of my own right now, but I imagine making sure they're getting their nutrition is one of the first things.
Priority, yeah.
And you met my aunt, and her mother, my grandmother, has said to me, I don't know if you did meet my aunt or you knew that was my aunt.
I did. I met her. Okay. Bridget, right?
Yep, Bridget.
Yeah, so, I loved her fingernails.
They do look good.
Yes, yes.
So Bridget got her fingernails done. There's a whole fingernail thing going on over there.
Yeah.
All right. But one of the things that her mom, when I first moved here, and I'm her guardian, and I assume that responsibility, I asked about the story, and she said one of the first things she noticed was that Bridget would constantly throw up after breastfeeding, those types of things. So this is talking about some of those things that parents may notice.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Some signs and symptoms that oftentimes, especially if a diagnosis is whether it be acquired or congenital, meaning they're born with the diagnosis. So a lot of times we try to educate families on watching for those signs. Frequent vomiting after feeding as an infant is one sign. Poor ability to latch, even whether the child is a bottle-fed baby or a breastfed baby.
Yeah.
But poor ability with latching, that's also oftentimes a significant sign for something's not, working the way that it should.
Some of those milestones aren't getting hit yet, and we need to look at
Correct, exactly. An extremely fussy baby while eating. That's another sign or symptoms that we try to educate parents to watch for.
Yeah.
So those are just a few things, but again, depending on the individual, because every individual's needs can present very differently, that's kind of our job as the speech language pathologist, is to evaluate that need and to see what the feeding problem or issue might be.
Yeah, and the parents may feel like, I don't know, but the cool thing is they don't have to know.
Exactly.
We have specialists and experts like you.
Come see us.
Yeah, exactly. So how about a website that we can post in the chat?
Well, actually, believe it or not, I'm still a very new company and I'm working on a website.
What about a cell phone or a phone?
Yes, I have an email address that they can email any questions, problems, or concerns they have, and I have an office business line that they can contact us if they want to discuss the referral process.
Shout them out both.
Okay, so our office line is direct to our clinic is 205-759-1211. And you need the most important part, extension 234. That'll bring us straight to our office.
Perfect. And
big building.
And the email?
And the email, it's actually my name, so M. Manning, and that's MANNING at discoveryspeechtherapy.org.
Discoveryspeechtherapy.org.
That's correct.
And
that's why I'm working on that email. I just got the web domain.
Heck yeah.
We're working on it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate the work that you're doing in the community, and thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Mrs. Manning, appreciate you.
Yep. Just like Peyton Manning without all the money.
Yeah, not yet. I am being told we are running out of battery, so I'll go ahead and wrap up at this point. Guys, we are not plugged into an outlet right now, so I appreciate you guys being here with us. We will be back on Monday, actually down here in Tuscaloosa with the ADAP, Alabama Disabilities Advocacy Program. Mr. Lane Hagan is going to anchor that, and we will have Mrs. Chandra on with us talking about all ADAP does. So we will see you guys 10 a.m. Monday morning. Enjoy your weekend.